All right, so welcome to the deep dive, everybody. Today we're going deep, really deep, into the life and crimes of Leon Dorsey.
Uh-huh.
This is a convicted murderer executed in Texas, actually back in 2008.
Yeah.
And we're using his Wikipedia page as our main source for this deep dive.
Okay.
And honestly, there's a lot to unpack here, folks. You might find yourself thinking about this one long after we're done.
It's definitely one of those cases
Yeah.
that stays with you, you know.
Right.
Dorsey's story, well, it's a heavy one, to be sure.
Yeah.
There's just no way around that. But
Yeah.
I think it offers some really valuable insights into the criminal justice system, you know,
For sure.
and just the complexities of dealing with violent offenders.
And especially starting right from the start, I mean, his crimes were just shocking. In 1994,
Yeah.
when he was just 18 years old,
Wow.
Dorsey committed a double murder at a Blockbuster video store in Dallas.
A blockbuster, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
He walked in, he forced the two employees, Brad Lindsay and James Armstrong, into the back at gunpoint.
Oh, wow. Made them open the safe, and it gets even worse from there.
This wasn't just a robbery gone wrong, though, right?
No.
Armstrong actually tried to escape,
Yeah.
and Dorsey shot him,
He did?
and then he
Yeah.
shot Lindsay as well.
Yeah.
Took over $400.
Yeah.
Left those young men to die.
Just left them there.
It really speaks to a level of, premeditation,
Yes.
cold-heartedness. It's really hard to grasp.
It is. And here's where it gets really interesting for me.
Okay.
There was surveillance footage of Dorsey entering the store.
Oh, really?
But for some reason, the police initially overlooked him as a suspect.
You would think that footage would be like a slam dunk, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would think so.
But it seems like investigators, they were focused on other leads at the time.
Right, right.
Makes you wonder how many other seemingly insignificant details,
Oh, yeah.
have been overlooked in cases from that era,
Especially back then.
before forensic technology became as advanced as it is today.
Right, that's mind-boggling, isn't it? It is.
Especially when you think about how far we've come with things like DNA analysis and video enhancement.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a grainy security tape from the late 90s?
Right.
Who knows what kind of information could be hiding in those pixels now
Yeah.
with the right technology?
Exactly. It makes you think about all those cold cases out there.
Oh, yeah.
Just waiting to be cracked wide open.
Yeah.
The right tools and a fresh perspective.
So Dorsey, he managed to slip through the cracks for a bit,
Uh-huh.
but his path crossed with law enforcement again just a few months later.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
This time for a murder at a Korean convenience store.
That's right. On September 11th, 1994,
Oh.
he murdered 51-year-old Hyun Suk-chun.
Wow.
It's almost like a chilling echo of the Blockbuster murders.
Oh, wow.
Forced her into a back room.
Okay.
Shot her in the back of the head.
Jeez.
The similarities are disturbing, to say the least.
They really are. So he's caught for this murder, but insists he's innocent in the Blockbuster case.
He did.
Did they buy it?
Well, he got a 60-year sentence for Chona's murder in 1995.
Oh, wow.
But the Blockbuster case remained unsolved for a while.
So imagine the families of those victims
Whoa. I know.
living with that uncertainty and lack of closure for years.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
It is.
It's unimaginable, but thankfully, investigators decided to reopen the Blockbuster case in 1998.
Okay.
What changed? Did they have new evidence?
They brought Dorsey in again for questioning.
Okay.
But this time they had a new tool in their arsenal.
What's that?
A closer look at that surveillance footage with the help of the FBI.
Oh, okay.
This is where the evolution of forensic technology really starts to play a crucial role in this story.
So I'm guessing this is about more than just grainy VHS tapes, right?
You're right.
What kind of technology were they using back then?
You know, this wasn't just rewinding and pausing.
Right.
In the late 90s, advancements in video analysis were starting to take off.
Oh.
Think image enhancement, possibly even early facial recognition algorithms being tested out. And don't forget, they had the FBI involved.
Right.
So they had access to, the cutting-edge tech of the time.
And that's how they were finally able to link Dorsey definitively to the Blockbuster murders.
It was a breakthrough moment.
Wow, what a game changer.
They were able to determine that the killer's height in the footage matched Dorsey's. Faced with this new evidence, he finally confessed.
Wow.
It must have been a huge relief for the families, to finally have some answers,
Yes.
some semblance of justice being served.
You mentioned justice, but this is where the story takes an even darker turn, right?
It does.
Dorsey gives this incredibly chilling interview where he shows absolutely zero remorse.
This interview with the Dallas Morning News is truly disturbing.
Yeah.
He doesn't just admit to the murders. He actually boasts about other violent acts he's committed.
Really?
He said, and I quote, "I've done cut folks, I've done stabbed folks, I've killed folks."
Wow.
And then he also said, "They're dead. That's over and done with. Why are you going to sit there and worry yourself about that? Move on."
Wow. It's like he's completely detached from the reality of his actions and the pain he's inflicted.
It is.
How did the victims' families react to this?
During his trial, Armstrong's mother, she delivered a powerful statement directly to Dorsey.
Wow.
She said, "Our son was a gentleman. You are not. I believe you're an evil, vile creature. You didn't kill for survival. You killed for pleasure."
I can't even imagine the strength it took for her to face him and say those words.
I know. It's incredible.
It's a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable tragedy.
It really is.
So this interview, this lack of remorse,
Right.
did the prosecution use this against Dorsey during the trial?
Absolutely. They argued that his callous nature,
Oh,
you know, his complete lack of empathy,
Right.
warranted the most severe punishment.
Wow, cool.
And in June of 2000,
Okay.
Dorsey was convicted of capital murder and sentenced to death.
So he ends up on death row in Texas, which anyone who follows true crime knows
Right.
has a pretty notorious reputation when it comes to capital punishment.
Right. And Dorsey's time on death row was far from quiet.
I bet.
He was classified as a level 3 inmate,
Okay.
the most restrictive category in the Texas prison system.
Oh, wow.
This meant he was considered a constant threat,
Right?
prone to violence and disruption, even within a high-security environment.
Wow, I've heard stories about inmates like that.
Yeah.
Even among hardened criminals, they stand out.
They do.
Didn't he earn a nickname from his fellow inmates?
He did. They called him Pistol Pete,
Pistol Pete.
a nickname that speaks volumes about, you know, the kind of fear and respect,
Oh, yeah.
or perhaps a twisted kind of admiration
Yeah.
he commanded, even within the walls of prison.
So we've got this picture of Leon Dorsey, right? Cold-blooded killer, completely remorseless, even earning a fearsome nickname on death row.
Uh-huh.
But then, in his final moments, he says something that really throws a wrench into our understanding of him.
His execution was set for August 12, 2008,
Okay.
right before the lethal injection.
Yeah.
He turns to the families of his victims and says, "I love all y'all. I forgive all y'all. See y'all when you get there." Talk about a curveball.
How do you even process those words?
Right.
On one hand, you've got this history of brutality
Yeah.
and a complete lack of empathy.
Right.
But then there's this almost peaceful statement of forgiveness. It's hard to reconcile the two.
It's a real head-scratcher, isn't it?
It is.
Was it a genuine moment of remorse?
Right.
A last-minute attempt at redemption?
Yeah.
Or was it, you know, a calculated manipulation?
Right.
A final act of control even in the face of death?
Yeah.
Really makes you think about the psychology of criminals,
Uh-huh.
especially those facing their own mortality.
Right.
Do their values and beliefs shift when they're staring death in the face?
It's a question that probably doesn't have a simple answer.
No, probably not.
But it adds another layer of complexity to an already fascinating case.
Right.
And this case, I think, in a way,
Right.
forces us to confront our own beliefs about justice and punishment.
Uh-huh.
What is the purpose of the death penalty?
Yeah.
Is it about retribution,
Right.
deterrence,
Yeah.
or is there a possibility of rehabilitation,
Right.
even for someone like Leon Dorsey?
You've hit on some really crucial points there.
I think so.
Dorsey's execution, it really reignited the debate surrounding capital punishment,
Yeah.
particularly in Texas.
Right.
Texas has a history of being very tough on crime,
They do.
and they carry out more executions than any other state.
Right. Right.
So when a case like Dorsey's comes along, you know,
Yeah.
it forces people to take a hard look at the system.
Yeah,
Ask those tough questions.
for sure.
What does justice truly mean?
Right.
What do we hope to accomplish by taking a life?
It's interesting to think about this case in the context of the time. It was 2008.
Right.
Public opinion on the death penalty was already shifting.
There were growing concerns about wrongful convictions,
Yeah.
especially with advancements in DNA technology.
Yeah.
Did any of that play into Dorsey's case at all?
It definitely played a role in the broader conversation.
Okay.
People were becoming more aware of the flaws in the system, you know,
Right.
the possibility of human error
Yeah.
and the irreversible nature of the death penalty.
Oh,
Dorsey's case, with its lingering questions about remorse and motivation, just amplified those concerns.
It also highlights the evolution of forensic technology, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We talked earlier about the role of video analysis in connecting Dorsey to the blockbuster murders.
Right.
But think about how far we've come since then.
Yeah.
Today, we have DNA databases,
Yeah.
facial recognition software,
Yeah.
all kinds of sophisticated tools that can help solve crimes
Yeah.
and potentially prevent miscarriages of justice.
You, as a listener interested in this case, might be thinking about the implications of these advancements.
Oh, for sure. Dorsey's case really underscores how crucial forensic science is to the pursuit of truth.
Yeah.
But it also raises new questions.
Right.
About privacy and the potential for misuse
Right.
of these powerful tools.
It's a delicate balance, for sure.
It is.
We want to solve crimes,
Right.
but we also want to protect individual rights.
Yeah.
But going back to Dorsey, beyond the legal and forensic aspects, this case really gets at the heart of human behavior, doesn't it?
It does.
Why do people commit such horrific acts?
Yeah.
What leads them down that path?
That's a question that has plagued criminologists and psychologists for centuries.
Really?
In Dorsey's case, we see this disturbing mix of premeditation and impulsiveness.
Okay.
A lack of empathy coupled with these moments of seemingly genuine emotion.
Right.
It's a reminder that even the most heinous crimes
Yeah.
don't always have easy explanations.
Right.
People are complex, their motivations are often tangled,
Right.
and understanding the why behind a crime can be incredibly difficult.
And even when we do have some understanding of the why,
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily bring closure or make the pain any less real for the victims and their families.
Absolutely, and that's something we can't lose sight of.
Right.
Behind the headlines, the court transcripts, the forensic evidence
Yeah.
are real people
Yeah.
whose lives were forever changed by these crimes.
Right.
The families of Brad Lindsay, James Armstrong, and Hyun Suk Chon
Yeah.
had to grapple with unimaginable loss and grief.
It's unimaginable.
Their stories matter,
Yeah.
and their pain deserves to be acknowledged.
Their stories deserve to be remembered and honored,
Yeah.
even as we continue to grapple with the complexities of the case itself
Right.
and its implications for the criminal justice system as a whole.
Mhm.
It's a reminder that every crime,
Okay.
no matter how big or small,
Right.
has a ripple effect
Yeah.
that extends far beyond the immediate victims.
And that's why cases like Leon Dorsey's are so important to examine.
Okay.
They force us to ask those uncomfortable questions. Yeah. About ourselves, our society,
Yeah.
and our systems of justice.
For sure.
They challenge us to think critically,
Uh-huh.
to question our assumptions,
Right.
and to never stop seeking a deeper understanding of the human condition,
Yeah.
both its darkness and its light.
Man, we've really gone deep on Leon Dorsey, huh?
We have.
The brutal crimes, the lack of remorse, that shocking interview, the final words that seem to contradict everything we thought we knew about him.
Yeah.
It's been a heavy journey for sure.
It has, and I think what's most fascinating, for anyone listening to this deep dive,
Yeah.
is how this single case touches on so many important issues.
Right.
The evolution of forensic technology,
Yeah.
the ongoing debate about capital punishment,
Yeah.
and, just those deep psychological questions
Right.
about what drives a person to commit such horrific acts.
It's easy to get caught up in the details of a case like this, the
Right.
facts and the dates and the legal proceedings. But what really stays with me is the human element.
Yeah.
Victims, their families,
Right.
the ripple effects of these crimes that extend outward, touching countless lives.
Exactly. We can't forget about Brad Lindsay, James Armstrong, and Hyun Suk Chon.
Right.
Their lives are cut short, their potential stolen,
It's unimaginable.
and their loved ones are left to pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
To try to make sense of a senseless tragedy.
It's a stark reminder that every life has value, that every act of violence leaves a lasting impact.
It does.
And while we can analyze the evidence, debate the legal and ethical implications, the pain and the loss remain long after the headlines fade.
This case, for me, it really underscores the need for continued dialogue about crime and punishment in our society.
Yeah.
What can we do to prevent these kinds of tragedies?
Why? Yeah.
How can we create a system that delivers justice
Yeah.
while also acknowledging the complexity of human behavior and the possibility of rehabilitation?
Those are big questions, and I don't think there are easy answers.
Right.
But by engaging in these conversations, by
Right.
trying to understand the why behind the crimes, by listening to the voices of the victims and their families,
Yeah.
maybe we can start to move towards a more just and compassionate future.
I think you've hit on something really important there, the power of listening.
Yeah.
In a world that's often quick to judge, to condemn,
Right.
to reduce complex issues to sound bites and hashtags,
Yeah.
taking the time to truly listen to different perspectives, to
Nice.
engage with empathy,
Yeah.
can be transformative.
It's something we strive for on this show.
Yeah.
To present the information, to unpack the complexities.
Right.
But also to encourage our listeners
Ah.
to think critically, to ask their own questions,
Yeah.
to form their own conclusions.
And maybe, just maybe, by engaging with these tough topics,
Yeah.
by confronting the darker aspects of human nature,
Yeah.
we can spark a dialogue that leads to meaningful change.
Well said. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the life and crimes of Leon Dorsey.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been a heavy but important journey, and as always, we encourage you to keep exploring, to keep asking questions, to keep searching for those deeper truths that lie beneath the surface of every story.